Hey there, internets. This is Kyle with another edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well today. On today's episode, I'll give you a little bit of an update in terms of what I've been working on in my Thinkific profile, as well as setting up an active campaign account. So today is Tuesday, I guess, so I did have to get back to work after the little holiday weekend break, and busy with work stuff during the day, but did do some additional kind of investigating in terms of the Thinkific settings I needed, and thinking a little bit more about how to build out the course and membership sites that go along with that. But even before that, thinking more about, again, the initial goal is just to start collecting email addresses so I can start to build my own list of people that are interested in the things that I'm doing. So on one hand, I was thinking about maybe I should have a landing page that's just kind of dedicated to people that are coming to me via YouTube, which will be the predominance of the traffic I'm trying to get after. Playing around with, maybe have some separate URL that has people link there, such as PhDengineerYouTube.com or something. That would take them to a specific landing page where I could make videos a little bit more specific to YouTube viewers, saying, hey, thanks for coming to my site. Obviously, you checked out one of my YouTube videos and you're probably interested in getting show notes or whatever. First thing I need you to do is just drop your email in here, and then boom, that takes them over to the sales page for the gold membership, where they can get access to like all those show notes from the various YouTube videos, as well as some other things that I talked about yesterday. So I thought that was probably a reasonable idea. And then I started thinking about, as I was playing around with some of the designing the pages and Thinkific yesterday, and again, noticing that yes, they are certainly more limited than ClickFunnels in terms of just the formatting of things that you can do in there, but also just in the terms of the collecting of those email addresses. So they have a lead gen section block or whatever that you can drop into your page. But as I was digging into that more yesterday, I think after I made the video, all that does is literally just drop it into a CSV. Well, it drops it into their database, I guess, but the only way you can get access to that list is you have to download a CSV file, and of course then you could upload that to whatever email program you wanted to start pushing out email. So that's not the best. I mean, like ClickFunnels, if you set up a generic lead gen page, it's recording all those emails and contacts informations into ClickFunnels 2.0, which then you could set up workflows to actually send emails from within ClickFunnels. So that's, again, one of their selling features of what they're doing, but that's just not what Thinkific does. That's okay. So then that got me to thinking more about the email marketing side of things, and active campaign is one that I've come across in several forums of people talking about it as being a good option, maybe better than MailChimp, which is something I've at least heard of before. But I guess apparently some people are not so happy about that product these days. And so Active Campaign was one I saw recommended, so I went ahead and signed up for that. At least the cheapest option is only like $10 a month or something. So it's not super expensive. So then I figured out that with Active Campaign, I can set up forms, which I can then embed into my Thinkific sites, such that I can use those for my lead generation sites. And then, somebody drops in their email address, it's on an Active Campaign form. That information automatically gets pushed into my Active Campaign, whatever platform. And from there, I can set automations to start, sending out automatic emails to the people that sign up for my list, and whatever sort of campaigns I want to set up for doing my marketing, email marketing. So I thought that was just a little easier process to follow, rather than have to download some CSV file and start to manually send people emails. I mean, obviously I'm just getting started, so I don't think I want to instantly start getting thousands of email addresses. But I mean, even just one, even at low numbers, that would be like a pain in the ass. And again, the point here is I'm doing this part-time. I don't have a ton of time to just be sitting around emailing people randomly. So trying to get at least some of the basic automation stuff set up, such that once I start pushing out more content on the YouTubes, there is a process, there is a flow by which people are coming through my, online business, I think is important. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get that set up. I just need to learn some of the basics initially of Active Campaign. I mean, I think I set up a form correctly, hopefully, and I figured out how to and how I figured out how to embed that into a Thinkific site, because you can just drop the HTML coding into your site, which I've done before, so I understand how that works. And even I think you can do stuff like, once I have that HTML code for that form, I can drop that into a pop-up, so do something a little more like how ClickFunnels or Magneto Marketing Secrets kind of does their websites, where it's like you have a call to action button saying, I want to join your list for some free thing you're giving me. Click on that, boom, you get a pop-up. The pop-up is where you put in your name and email address. I mean, I guess it's not super important, but at least something that I know I can do if I so choose to do so. One thing I was thinking about earlier was that going with this whole approach of using Thinkific to really build out my web pages and my landing pages and sales pages. The thing I'm giving up by not using ClickFunnels is, again, from what I can tell thus far, which I could be wrong on this because I haven't dug in super deep yet, is, things like split testing of different pages. I'm not sure if that's really an option within Thinkific. And so again, trying different sales messages, figure out which one works better or which one doesn't. I don't think you can do that. In addition to just some of the core analytics, of understanding like how many people are actually coming to this page versus how many people are then inputting their email versus how many people then are, making it each step of the way through the funnel. I'm not sure how much of what Thinkific analyzes, it'll provide. That got me thinking for a minute about, well, maybe I should build this up in ClickFunnels and just figure out how to do the integration between ClickFunnels and Thinkific. So I still host my courses and my membership on the Thinkific platform, but I keep all the sales and marketing stuff on ClickFunnels. So whenever somebody buys one of the courses, it just somehow pushes them to create this Thinkific user account, and that's where they can access their material. I know that can be done, but again, it's just one of those things where I don't really feel like taking the time to do that. And so I was just thinking like, well, again, I'm just getting started. I don't really care about doing a bunch of split tests and everything. I mean, if I find like nothing's moving, like I'm getting zero interest, then maybe I just drop an entirely new site or landing page or something, change the bait, change the hook, change something, and just see if that gets more people to come in. So there's other ways to do that without having the more elegant solution of a true split test that ClickFunnels can do. I figure I'll do that for a while, and if I see that I'm getting decent traffic and I'm actually starting to get sales, obviously, which is important, then maybe somewhere down the road I'll just pay somebody who's a ClickFunnels guru, funnel builder, whatever. I'll just pay them to say look, here's everything, how I set it up in Thinkific. I just need you to get all that set up on ClickFunnels so I can be able to do split tests and look at more of the analytics. And I need you to make whatever connections have to be made so that when somebody buys my course on ClickFunnels, it'll automatically connect them to Thinkific. And again, I'm sure there's people I can hire to do that. It's just not really something I want to do right now. So yeah, aside from that, I mean, again, just playing around with even going through some training right now on Active Campaign. Just again, understand the basics of how that tool works. Obviously, I'll have to come up with an email campaign for when people sign up for my list, and I have to write those emails, which I'll certainly leverage either funnel scripts or this AI tool thing that I mentioned to just generate that really quickly for me. And start to push that, and then as well as build out these membership and course sites. Because again, man, it's just a lot of work, and for somebody doing this part time, with very limited amount of time, it's difficult. In other news, I've bought a standing desk for my new office space downstairs that I'm hoping to get finished up this weekend. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of work to take out a water heater again for the second time, to finish up some wall area behind that water heater, stain the concrete floors, put in all the trim work. Then I can reinstall the water heater. There's some painting involved in there. Anyway, I'm trying to get that room all done so I can just be done with that project. It's been a many months long project with various fits and starts just because of life, how it is. I just want to get it done, and so then I bought a nice new desk so I can have that ready to go once I get that room completed and be able to finally move all the stuff we have here in this office, move it downstairs, which is just a bit more of a secluded space for, especially when I'm working at home during the days with the kids home. It's just easier to work down there because I don't have screaming kids right right outside this door here that you see. And then eventually I'll turn this room into somewhat of a kid's office area. My kids are still pretty young, but at some point they'll be old enough that they'll have their own computers and they'll be, obviously doing their homeworks and all that stuff. So I think this is a good room to have them set up to do that. So that's the plan here on the homestead. Also pondering about selling a real estate, the only real estate property, rental property I have at the moment. A real estate agent reached out to me asking if I want to go and pull the trigger on trying to sell it or what I want to do. And not sure. I've thought about selling it just because market is still pretty hot here, even with interest rates being what they are. I'm just in a good geographic location where there's still a lot of demand and rents going up and being pretty good for the cost of the building. I think it's overall still an attractive market for investor types, so I could probably cash in pretty good on this purchase I made a year and a half ago. I could use the money, but just to pay off a bunch of debts, but even I'd pay off all my debt, but I'd still have a good chunk of change left over, and so then it's just kind of the question of, well, what would I do with that money? Because the good thing about having a rental property, I am making some net income every month from that rental property after I pay all the bills and whatnot. So it's cash flowing, it's cash flow positive, versus if I just sell it, I get a bunch of cash in my bank. It's just going to sit in my bank account, not making me any money really. I mean, I could put it in the stock market, but that's probably only going to continue to go down over the next 6 to 8 months to a year, maybe longer. I don't know. So I'm not going to be getting much of a return there, at least not now. So yeah, that's not the best idea, I guess. But it would be a somewhat of a mental load off my chest of just not even having any worry about, potential bad things that can happen with having real estate. Not that they happen a lot, but you are the owner of a building that other people are living in and that you are not watching 24/7. So any number of things can happen. It could burn to the ground one day. Yeah, any types of things can happen. Unfortunately, I've had a good experience thus far, but I haven't had it that long. So I'm sure with time, it's bound that there's going to be some sort of catastrophic event of some sort. And, so just selling it and not having that burden at all could be helpful in some ways, just from a mental perspective, even if it doesn't financially change with the landscape too much. Also thought about refinancing it, where I could just pull out some of the equity to pay off some of the debts, so I could at least lower my monthly debt payments, which would help alleviate some financial pressures. But then I'm on the hook for a larger mortgage payment, and interest rates being what they are means it's going to go up quite a bit from what I'm paying now, because I financed it back in the days of super low interest rates. And I mean, frankly, interest rates even now being at 6 to 7%. I mean, even that, frankly, is not terrible. Again, you got to keep in mind that back in the 70s and 80s, things were crazy, and you were getting 10, 15% interest rates. So even being at 6 or so isn't the worst thing in the world. But I would have that increased mortgage payment, which means my cash flow would go down significantly month to month, again, in exchange for me just being able to pay off some bills. The benefit there is I'm still keeping the property. I don't have to pay taxes on that money that I get out through the refinance, which obviously I would pay taxes if I just flat out sold it. So I don't know. This is a random aside. It has nothing to do with my online business. Just something I thought I'd throw out there for everybody. A day in the life of Kyle, the online entrepreneur here. Part-time entrepreneur, right? Anyway, I want to leave it there. I'm going to get to bed. I'm going to wake up early, get back to work. Hope you're all doing well. Keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll see you next time. Peace.